So I'm going to talk a little bit about the Cologne New Year's Eve attacks. When I made the video about the man being attacked in Belden near Leeds, I mentioned this in passing, but that night it was still a developing story. That's really the only reason why I didn't add more information, because it was still a developing story at that point. But more information has emerged now, and it looks like the attackers were entirely immigrant gangs of young men from North Africa and the Middle East. Um, and reports suggest as many as 516 women have now um, reported their attacks to the police in Cologne alone. And there were other attacks in other German cities. Um, I think it could easily be said this was inevitable because the essentially open door policy that Merkel promoted last year, up to 1 million immigrants let into Germany, it was absolutely inevitable that some of them would be bad apples. Now, when it comes to any debates about immigration, I do think it's important to recognise that there is a danger in generalising an entire group. So I wouldn't want to see a far right backlash against every individual immigrant in Germany. That would clearly be wrong. But at the same time, what those New Year's Eve attacks show is that political correctness and sensitivities actually take away attention from victims of serious crime. And if anything, Germany now should be really looking at this. I know there's a passionate debate going on over there, um, and really reviewing its attitude towards cultural sensitivities. I personally think that Western society in general can be way too tolerant. Um, I don't believe in a closed door policy. I don't believe that the response to this is to suddenly make a stop to all immigration, but I do believe that people wanting to seek refuge in Germany or any other European or Western country must absolutely agree to respect Western values. That includes respect for women. Now, a lot of these attackers come from countries where the only time they've ever seen a woman is behind a niqab. Um, so that could be an explanation for it, but it's certainly no justification for it. And I hope the culprits are severely punished. There should be no mercy because what they put those women through must have been a truly frightening experience. In many cases, it was reported that they were surrounded by these packs of drunk thugs, basically. Um, and I don't care what sob stories they come out with about fleeing war zones and so on. If they come to a country like Germany and they treat German citizens that way, they need to be punished. I mean, talk about sort of slap in the face for or lack of gratitude. Germany has opened its doors, given these people refuge, and how do they repay it? By attacking German women. So I believe there should be absolutely no mercy for these guys. I believe they need to be punished, and then after they are punished, they need to be kicked out. No questions asked. Um, yeah, and I think it's a general. I think this should be a general reminder for Western countries that tolerance can go too far. One of my subscribers actually made a good point, and as far as I know, he's living in Germany. I'm sure he won't mind me mentioning this, but he made a very valid point. That is that when there is a perception that there is a lack of justice, that's when the far right starts gaining ground. That's why the likes of Pegida and other organisations that could be described as being on the fringes, that's when they get support because people understandably feel frustrated and let down. Um, and right now, I think the German left have to answer some tough questions. Um, there was a rally in Cologne shortly after this, and left wing activists turned up to, denounce the rally against the attacks. Um, I understand that there is a problem that the far right could exploit this, but there is a problem. There is a problem in that there are men from certain parts of the world who have a bad attitude towards women. And they take this view that basically Western women are free game. that disgusting attitude needs to be challenged. So those people who were sort of protesting against the protests need to get the priorities right. Where's their where's their concern for the victims of this? If um, I was going to say if I was a victim, well, there were also male partners of the women attacked as well. If my girlfriend had been attacked by that mob and I saw people coming out and basically saying, "Oh, we shouldn't protest about this," I would be furious. Germans have every right to be angry about what's happened. Um, and angry at the censorship as well. It's totally disgraceful. So yeah, I think Western countries do need to ask big questions about this and about what's happening. I don't think the answer is to close our borders. I don't believe that is the right approach because I still believe that people who are genuinely fleeing, uh, who are facing desperate situations, I believe we have a moral responsibility to help. But that doesn't mean being a pushover, and it doesn't mean that shouldn't come with the caveat of obliging people to respect our values. So, Belgium has just introduced a policy of educating men from these countries that basically educating them on gender equality and respect for women. I think that's a very good thing, and it should be mandatory. Now, that's not to say that every single man from the Middle East treats women like this. Of course not. But when you have a trend, it is important to act on it. So I think Belgium has taken the right policy. Um, and if you're a Muslim man or you're from that part of the world and you think, but I don't treat women like that, well, okay, but you have to see the bigger picture because there is a cultural problem here with too many men who take that attitude. No doubt there will be people who also say, oh, but there's white German men who do this as well. Not on this scale, there isn't. This was an exceptional case. You do not get, on a normal New Year's Eve, 500 women being assaulted. Even in a big city like Cologne, that just is not normal. So it is a direct consequence of the mass immigration that Germany saw last year. Um, and I think in the West, we need to stop being so politically correct, so ultra sensitive, and the left, frankly, should be ashamed of themselves. I'm not talking about everyone on the left, but I'm talking about those who say, oh, but you cannot talk about immigration. You're a horrible racist if you even talk about this. Get a grip, really. Because the victims here are those innocent German women who were attacked when they should have been enjoying a night out. So it's completely understandable the anger that is being felt over this. I hope those women get justice. The people responsible need to be punished and then they need to be kicked out. They don't deserve to be in Germany, regardless of what they've been through. That is basically biting the hand that feeds you. And they should be kicked out. Full stop.